24 minutes we spend on the top social media sites every day. That's a lot of time. So I have a human being in front of me that I want to be in relationship with and communicating with, but I've had a conversation on my cell phone with somebody, and that conversation didn't really end that well. So it's got some of my attention. And I've got Facebook over here, and I'm in a Facebook conversation with somebody, so that's got some of my attention. And I'm texting somebody over here, and that text thread is continuing, so that text thread has got some of my attention. And you know, there's not just one text thread happening, right? There's like 3 or 4 text threads that all have some of my attention. And so this means that this poor person in front of me gets about this much of me. You feel me here? And though I want to be in relationship with you, my attention is frayed. That's the term that we started using for this, is that there's all this other stuff that is pulling on my attention, so I cannot be with the person in front of me. This is not good. This causes isolation. This causes me to feel alone, even if I'm in a group of people. That I don't actually get what does it mean to be deeply in relationship. That can be a healing journey. Because my attention is wandering all over the place. So the bad news is, since the 1980s, the percentage of American adults who say they are lonely has doubled from 20% to 40%. Loneliness can impair health by raising levels of stress hormones and inflammation, which in turn can increase the risk of heart disease, arthritis, type 2 diabetes, dementia, even suicide attempts. Isolation increases the risk of heart disease by 29% and stroke by 32%. The pooled data from 70 studies and 3.4 million people found that socially isolated individuals had a 30% higher risk of dying in the next 7 years, and that this effect was largest in the middle age. And in this room, we know now that middle age is like from 20 to 80, right? Because we don't get older. This is... Hallelujah. So they did a study, a Harvard study of adult development over 80 years. This was a very long study. They started studying people in Harvard and in the local city, their offspring. This study began, and when they were first doing it, they're concerned with adult development, and they're measuring a lot of physical characteristics, cholesterol level, how big is the person's brow, because they thought it had to do with brains, and there's a lot of strange things that they're measuring through this study. And one of the authors said, when the study began, nobody cared about empathy or attachment. But what we found is the key to healthy aging is relationships, relationships, relationships. Yeah. Close relationships, more than money or fame, are what keep people happy throughout their lives. Those ties protected people from life's discontents, help to delay mental and physical decline, and are better predictors of a long and happy life than social class IQ, or even genes. According to the research, you can make more money and you won't get happier beyond a certain amount, about $75,000. Like up to $75,000, it has something to do with how happy you are. Above $75,000 doesn't matter. Your relationships matter. How much money you make doesn't matter. That's household income, for those of you who are wondering. And in California, it's $96,000 because we have a little... Yeah. So through these relationships, it seems like something can happen to us that is beyond our ordinary knowing, that is beyond even what we thought we could become, that we get stretched when we get supported. I've got a story about that. You want to hear a story? Yes. All right, thank you. Permission granted. So I am feeling sick. I've had the flu. This is a couple of months ago. And this is Jordan, my daughter. And this is Karina, my wife. And they often wonder if their stories and our stories are going to make it onto pulpit, so this one is. So I'm sick. Karina's brother, yes?
What's your wife's name?
Karina.
Karina.
Yes, the daughter is Jordan, my wife is Karina. So, and this is Veronica, Jordan's friend. Jordan thought... So Karina, my wife's brother, is holding an event out in Hawaii. And there are extra rooms available and extra food available, so he says, come on, family, come on out here. You can come out to Hawaii and be part of this event. Now, I love this. I was like, thank you, Soren. We get to go out to Hawaii. I'm still a little bit sick, but we're doing it. Now, the family table is set apart from the participants who are in this thing, which is a very smart move as far as I'm concerned. That he has us eat over here, the riffraff eat over here, and the participants of the event eat over here. And we're at that table, and there's somebody who's singing to the participants, and they're not really paying much attention to the person singing, except for Jordan, my daughter, over at our table is. She's staring at him. And I say, Jordan, why are you looking at this guy so much? And she says, I want to go up there and sing. And I'm like, oh boy. So I go for distraction with humor as my first move. Well, he's got to break sometime. Maybe when he breaks, we'll both just run up there and sing. How about that? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, oh, thank God we made it through that one. I keep on eating. About 5 minutes later, I look back over at Jordan. She's still staring at him. Jordan, why are you looking at this guy? And she says to me, I want to push him off the stage and start singing. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a thing now. This could be an issue. Maybe you could ask Soren if you could do it. I don't know. So I go over and I'm getting some more food. And next thing I know, I see Jordan walking towards Soren. And I talk to Karina, my wife. I go, Karina, she's going to ask Soren if she can sing on the stage. This is not good. And Karina looks at me like, oh no. This is not good. She's going to get rejected by Soren. This is a horrible thing. I see that they're talking. Soren's nodding yes. They start going up to the stage. Karina runs over towards them and says, maybe we should turn the mic off while she's singing. She's never used the mic before. And Soren's, no, don't worry about it. So Jordan gets up there, the guy takes a break, and she gets up there. Soren introduces her. This is Jordan, my niece. She's never sung to a group before. She wants to sing to you all. And you can see that people who are out there are like, okay. And she starts singing like a small boat on the ocean. You know, just like a little voice. She's singing fight song. And I'm in the back, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is going to go so bad. This is going to be thousands of dollars of therapy later. As she continues singing, she finds her voice, and she finds her ground. And the people start responding. And I'm in the back going, wow, something is happening here. And she brings more and more juice, and finally the people are like getting in. They're like starting to do the hand thing where you're rocking along with the, like, this is my fight song, take back. And I'm just like, yeah, Jordan, rock on. You go, girl. She finishes the song, gets a standing ovation. The place is going berserk. She finishes, she takes off. I'm just in this surreal and like, what just happened? My child went up and things happened and people are congratulating me. And I go over to talk to Karina and I go, did you have any idea? And she said, well, she did come over and talk to me. And I said, you know, sometimes you just got to go for it. Then we found out later she talked to her grandmother before she went up there, and her grandmother said, well, you can always ask, you can do what you want to do. And she talked to her cousin, and he said, we'll just go for it. And I got that she was surrounded by community that was supporting her. Can you feel this? Yeah. That she didn't do this alone. That there's something that happened when we all were a yes for her, and we all held her as possible. Even her dad, who didn't really know what was going to happen, was a yes for her to engage, to ask. You feel this? And so what we've discovered over time is that network of relationship, that group of people supporting us on an individual level creates magic, creates transformation, allows us to be something that we never thought we could be, that we didn't even know what we could step into. We didn't know how authentic we could be. We didn't know how revealed we could be. We didn't know how much we could open our heart until we got into relationship and we felt both held and triggered by the people in our life. Raise your hand if you know what I mean when I say and triggered. Yeah, because this relationship thing ain't no joke. Because if you are actually on the path, if you are headed somewhere and you're doing your inner emotional and spiritual transformational work, what you will discover is that your relationships will show you the next level of healing for you. That the thing in them that is triggering for you is actually a reflection of something in here. That this is a beautiful container, often a hall of mirrors, that shows you that thing inside of you that you have disowned, that you have rejected, that it's something inside of you that gets projected out there into the ones that we love and care about and shows up as judgment of them. With me? Yes. So we get triggered and we start to back down or pull away or play smaller. We live in a world where the political scene is divisive, where fear is out there, where there's a lot of people that want it to be us versus them thinking, where we're pushed into our judgments and asked on some larger level to close our hearts. And I think that something can shift here, that we don't have to play that game, that there's a way that we can be in relationship here, that we can open our hearts here, and I've seen this over and over and over again, that you as an individual can open your heart, and you can impact the people around you, that you can be in relationship in a way that impacts your family or this community, and that there's a ripple out. The way that this community shows up as a holding space can impact the state, that impacts the United States, that can impact a planet, but that it starts here. You with me? That when we do this relationship thing better, something dramatic can happen on a larger scale. And sometimes we don't feel like we can have an impact. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. That there's times when we feel like, I don't know if I can have an impact out there. I am a stand for you can have an impact. that this work that we can do on an individual level and on a small group level here can have a larger impact, that there is a ripple out. If you are up for that, say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. If you are willing to do your inner emotional and spiritual work in community, say yes.
Yes.
If there is something inside of you that says, I will come back to the table even when you trigger me, even when your relationships show me something inside of me that I don't like, please say yes. If you are willing to open your heart inside this community and be with the people, say yes.
Yes.
Thank you. There is something inside of us when we say yes that opens possibility consciousness, that allows us to be in the world in a way that is so juicy and so vibrant and so alive. I know it myself. You guys used to scare the holy bejesus out of me. Really? You were scary, judgmental people for me. Until I shifted. And then all of a sudden, you guys were like loving. And it was amazing. Like, oh, all the warm people finally started showing up. At Light Ministries. It was transformational for me and for the community. Can you feel this?
Yes.
Thank you. So I'm going to close with a prayer. But before I do, tomorrow night at 7 p.m., we will gather in the social hall and we will do relational games, authentic relating games, where we build the skills of connection, where we practice opening our hearts to one another, seeing others deeply and being seen. It's a fundraiser for Light Ministries. Tomorrow at 7. What time? 7 o'clock. And you're invited. Please come and start this dance. Do this work with us. This is an extraordinary opportunity for us. Let's pray. I'm knowing that there's something inside of each of us individually and in this collective that transcends our old conditioning. That the spaces and places inside where we feel hurt or small or wounded do not dictate how we show up in the world. That we are bigger than that. That we are more joy-filled than that. That there's something inside of us that says yes to relationship in a way that we haven't ever been in relationship before. That we are called to open our hearts in a bigger way, to love more deeply, to express more fully, to show up in this planet and in this world in a way that is an experience of the divine incarnate. Knowing that as we open ourselves to divine love and we become that, spiritually we transform. That as we open to divine connection and become that, we transform. That inside of our hearts, our minds, our souls, our being, we realize I am bigger than my old stuff. And so I give thanks for this. I give thanks for the openings. I give thanks for the support. I give thanks for the divine presencing that moves through our lives. I give thanks for the vision of possibility that created Light Ministries, for the community that is the foundation and the rock here. I say thank you. I release this. I let this be, and so it is.